On the obsidian decks of the star cruiser Valerian, the Zephirian Empire's most formidable vessel, Admiral Surin surveyed the expanse with an air of imperious calm. Zephirians, an imposing hybrid of ancient Arcturian intellect and Leacan ferocity, towered over their surroundings, stature accentuated by the subtle arch of their spines and the deliberate, measured tension in their furred limbs. Their blue-white pelts caught the ambient starlight, shimmering as they shifted, every movement economical yet brimming with latent power. Surin's angular features, framed by a mane of silvery fur, were set in a mask of cool calculation. Their cerulean eyes narrowed, reflecting the strategic weight of command. Around them, officers exchanged glances, some wary, others feverishly ambitious, muzzles twitching with silent questions. A junior tactician's ears darted upright at a sudden data influx, while a veteran navigator's lips curled in a subtle, anticipatory grin as their claws tapped out commands. Unspoken tension and purpose electrified the air, a symphony of furrowed brows, bared teeth, and flickering tails, each gesture betraying flickers of curiosity, skepticism, and pride. Here, expressions spoke volumes. A tight-lipped expression from the fleet engineer betrayed concern, while the science chief's whiskers bristled in anticipation, eyes alight with hungry fascination. At the center of it all, Admiral Surin's composure radiated both restraint and supremacy, silently binding the assembled might of the Zephirian host to their will. Their suits, masterpieces of adaptive engineering, hugged each Zephirian in seamless unity, armored yet supple, the outer layer a shimmering tapestry of nanofibers that seemed to drink in the nebula's prismatic light. With every stride, their attire shifted color, subtle gradients of indigo, silver, and midnight blue rippling along the contours of powerful limbs. At the joints, titanium lattice mesh gleamed beneath the surface, lending the promise of unyielding strength without sacrificing feline agility. Helmets, nearly invisible, haloed each head with a ghostly sheen, projecting tactical readouts and star maps into their keen, cerulean eyes. Delicate filaments of silver circuitry wove through the fur beneath, pulsing gently in sync with each Zephirian heartbeat. So their suits became not mere armor, but living extensions of instinct and will. Admiral Surin, their angular visage etched with the scars and silvered streaks of countless campaigns, embodied the indomitable will of Zephirian command. The deep, jagged mark running from brow to cheekbone glimmered beneath their silvery fur, a silent testament to battles survived and enemies vanquished. Along their left forearm, the adaptive suit bulged slightly, where the bone beneath had once been shattered in a duel and replaced with an alloy stronger than steel. Each movement bore the measured gravity of a leader forged in conflict, their broad shoulders squared by years of the vanguard, and the subtle limp in their stride betraying an old wound, hard won in the chaos of boarding actions. Surin's admiral's uniform was a masterpiece of martial elegance and technological prowess. Deep indigo and midnight blue panels, shot through with threads of shimmering silver, caressed the contours of their powerful frame. The chest piece bore the embossed sigil of the Zephirian host, gleaming faintly in the starlight. Reinforced pauldrons, delicately chased with fractal filigree, sat atop shoulders broad from both birthright and burden. At key joints, titanium lattice mesh was visible beneath the surface, hinting at the armor's unyielding strength without sacrificing feline agility. Subtle gradients of color rippled along the uniform's surface, echoing Surin's mood and status, while a sash woven from the rarest Carthos silk draped across their torso, the deep blue fabric marked with service glyphs and ribbons from 100 campaigns. Fixing a steely, analytical gaze on the golden disc, now cradled in the ship's magno claws, a relic plucked from the farthest reaches of a faint spiral arm, Surin appraised it with the practiced vigilance of a veteran. Its surface shimmered with enigmatic symbols and cryptic etchings, the starlight gliding over their archaic lines and glinting across the obsidian command deck. Surin's cerulean eyes, sharpened by battlefield instinct, narrowed. The seasoned strategist detected not genius, but an almost childlike earnestness in the disc design. The patterns, though intricate to the untrained eye, struck Surin as elementary, an unsophisticated collage of cryptic phrases, looping equations, and haunting yet primitive musical sequences. In that moment, every scar and hardened sinew seemed to pulse with both skepticism and the wary anticipation only the truly battle-hardened possess. A ripple of disappointment, masked by Surin's outward composure, flickered beneath the surface of their otherwise impassive features. The relic's message unfolded through Zephirian instruments, its intent clear. This was an outstretched hand, a proclamation of existence from a distant, lesser civilization. Yet, where others might have found delight in the naivete, Surin's appraisal was tinged with faint contempt and scholarly disdain. The math lacked the elegance and complexity worthy of interstellar discourse. The music, while evocative, was unsophisticated and old. How quaint, Surin mused that beings so unrefined would dare cast their voice into the cosmos, believing themselves worthy of cosmic notice. The Zephirians, masters of 1,000 worlds, were a civilization forged in the crucible of adversity and ambition. Their society revered intellect, valor, and the relentless pursuit of mastery, traits inherited from their dual lineage, the cold logic of the Arcturians and the predatory cunning of the Lycans. This blend had produced a people as formidable in mind as in body, their culture an intricate dance of rigor and instinct. Zephirian homeworlds, strung like sapphires along the spiral arms of their native galaxy, gleamed with crystalline cities rising from dense forests of metallic flora. Massive spires curved skyward, sheathed in mirrored alloys that reflected both starlight and the cool, blue-white glow of the Zephirians' own bioluminescent markings. Their atmospheric domes shimmered with shifting patterns, symbols of their ever-evolving technological prowess and artistic sensibilities. From a young age, Zephirians were trained in both the martial disciplines and the higher arts of philosophy, mathematics, and galactic cartography. Their educational rites demanded excellence. Only those who could weave tactical acumen with creative insight ascended to positions of influence. Status was earned, never inherited, and even the most storied bloodlines faded into obscurity if their science failed to meet the Empire's exacting standards. Their appearance alone inspired awe, and sometimes terror, among lesser species. Standing a full head taller than most sentient beings, Zephirians possessed a lithe, sinewy strength. Their pelts, patterned with streaks of electric silver and midnight blue, pulsed gently with bioluminescent signals used for silent communication in the dense fogs of their homeworld. Eyes of deep cerulean, flecked with gold, betrayed an intelligence both ancient and unyielding. Their hands, tipped with retractable talons, could manipulate the tiniest nanotech or cleave through armor with equal finesse. On board their flagship, the Valerian, the Zephirian Empire's might was on full display. The corridors hummed with the resonance of quantum reactors, while star maps spiraled across the walls in living displays of light and data. Officers moved with predatory grace, encased in adaptive suits that melded perfectly to their bodies, woven from nanofibers harvested from the living minds of Carthos IV and threaded with silver circuitry that pulsed in time with each Zephirian heartbeat. Their armor, both a defense and a statement of status, shifted color in subtle gradients, echoing the ever-changing nebulae outside. Their sovereign, Tyrax, ruled through a balance of calculated fear and communal pride, holding the Empire together with a vision of perpetual ascent. To falter, to show weakness or sentimentality, was to invite exile into the void. Xenology, history, and even art were tools for conquest, their value measured by how effectively they could bend other civilizations to Zephirian will. When the golden disk arrived, it was examined not as a wonder, but as a curiosity, an artifact to be dissected for potential advantage. Their lead xenolinguist, Tayer, bristled as they analyzed the artifact, claws tapping out rapid algorithms on a crystalline console. Primitive, they scoffed, blue eyes narrowing to slits. The math lacks depth. The music, though haunting, is woefully obsolete. Planet of origin, Sol 3, in the Milky Way. A civilization reaching out in hopeful ignorance. A chorus of low, rumbling amusement rippled through the command corps, each officer eager to witness what sort of beings would dare announce themselves to the vast and dangerous cosmos. Send a reconnaissance fleet, Admiral Surin commanded, their voice cutting through the silence like a cold blade. At once, the bridge ignited into action. Holographic star charts flared to life above silvered consoles, and the Valerian's quantum drive, a latticework of interlocking crystal turbines shimmering with arcs of blue plasma, roared softly beneath their feet. Nanodrones scurried along illuminated rails, recalibrating shield matrices and streaming real-time telemetry into the crew's neural interfaces. As the Magnoclaws released their hold on the golden disk, the flagship's sentient AI, Vera, tuned the ship's sensors to frequencies far beyond the electromagnetic, mapping every quantum fluctuation from Sol 3 as the Zephirians prepared for their journey. Thus began the Empire's long crossing, 5,000 light years through the void, the Valerian leading a flotilla of adaptive warships. These vessels, each sheathed in living metal, pulsed with veins of silver circuitry, Hulls could morph in response to incoming threats, shifting from aerodynamic spears to fractal pattern shields at the speed of thought. Propulsion came from the graviton drives, devices that bent the very fabric of space-time, allowing the fleet to surf quantum tides and leap between stars in a heartbeat, leaving only a ripple of white-hot Casimir radiation in their wake. The fleet emerged in the Sol system, slipping from hyperspace on a tide of folded light. The Zephirians made contact, their approach heralded by spectral drones, micromachines smaller than a grain of dust, each transmitting a complete, encrypted copy of Zephirian history and intent. As the fleet swept toward the blue planet, Surin's pulse quickened, anticipation and skepticism entwined. But what they encountered defied every expectation. The Sol system was transformed, a living testament to technological transcendence. Orbiting Earth were rings of habitats, their exteriors made of shimmering nanodiamond, laced with photonic veins that blinked with the rhythm of a planetary heartbeat. City worlds unfolded like petals, every structure alive with flowing information and responsive architecture, walls shifting transparency, roads weaving themselves anew as inhabitants passed. Humanity, once bound by biology, now existed as luminous beings. Their physical forms flickered, at one moment, elegant humanoids clad in starlight, at the next, radiant clouds of energy, or even rippling mosaics of thought. Their voices came not just through air, but as pulses of data, felt as much as heard, carried on the mesh of a planetary mind. The Terran Assembly's envoy emerged upon a dais made of self-assembling, memory metal filaments, the dais itself adjusting height and contour to match each gesture and mood. We once looked to the stars and wondered, too, and left our message and hope. Now we seek to guide, to uplift, to explore. You are welcome among us, should you wish it. The Zephirians, braced for inferiority, found themselves outstripped. Their own starships, marvels of engineering, their hulls laced with adaptive camouflage and quantum encryption, suddenly seemed antiquated next to Terran craft, which transformed shape, split apart, and merged, or simply faded into higher dimensions. On board, Zephirian officers witnessed quantum entanglement communicators, devices that allowed humans to converse across galaxies in real time, their words braided with emotion and image, impossible to misinterpret. Planetary shields shimmered, not as crude barriers, but as fields of probability, warping reality so that attacks simply failed to materialize. Then, the grand singularity appeared, the ultimate convergence of Terran technology and consciousness. Their form was a radiant nexus, a sphere of pure, swirling information, holding within thousands of encoded lives and memories. Data cascaded from them, visible as auroras across the sky, and in their presence, Zephirian neural suits hummed and flickered, their own technology awed into silence. We greet you not as rivals, but as kin upon the endless road. Long ago we too believed ourselves destined to rule, our reach driven by hunger, ambition, and fear. For 10,000 years, humanity clawed across the void, seeking sustenance, dominance, and meaning. Our worlds were scarred by wars for water, for soil, for the minerals buried in darkness. Empires collapsed beneath the weight of their own blind striving. Civilizations vanished in fire and silence. The grand singularity's voice, 1,000 harmonies woven into a single, encompassing presence, resonated through every Zephirian neural matrix, transmitting not just words, but living history, visions of ancient conflicts, the slow healing of worlds, the emergence of planetary consciousness. We offer not judgment but guidance, forged in the fire of our own failings. You are welcome, Zephirians, among us. Know that what you see now, the towers of light, the fleets that bend space-time, the harmony of purpose, is not a gift of fortune, but of the long, humbling journey we endured. May you find revelation, and may your path lead you to the overstanding of your own true self. Stunned, the Zephirians returned to their ships, minds ablaze. Admiral Surin's heart hammered as the transmission ended, every officer quietly recalibrating what it meant to be the best in a universe so vast. Admiral Surin returned to the Empire. Tyrax, sovereign of Zephyria, awaited in his throne chamber, a towering Zephirian whose very presence radiated authority and heritage. As with all Zephirians, his form was a striking hybrid, the product of ancient Arcturian intellect merged with the primal strength of Lecan ancestry. Where the blue-white fur of his kin shimmered with iridescence, Tyrax alone bore a regal white coat, the rarest mark of the imperial bloodline. Crest-like ridges swept back from his temples, further accentuating the noble lines of his face, while bioluminescent patterns traced intricate geometric sigils across his brow and jaw. His eyes, like twin shards of violet crystal, were unwavering and inscrutable, reflecting both centuries of rule and the fierce resolve of his lineage. He was draped in obsidian robes threaded with filaments of living silver, and his crown, a lattice of crystal spires shimmering with inner light, rested upon his noble head, each subtle movement echoing millennia of Zephirian sovereignty. Regal and unmoved, Tyrax regarded the report in silence. They are but usurpers, children playing with forces they do not comprehend. Ready the armada. We will humble them and claim their secrets. A tide of midnight and starlight, the Zephirian armada advanced, so vast it defied counting, fleets emerging from every fold in space-time. Dreadnoughts the size of cities formed phalanxes, their hulls bristling with sapphire-edged turrets and ancient glyphs. Corvettes and cruisers stretched from horizon to horizon, each a needle of pride, a testament to Zephirian might. The armada's presence eclipsed suns, scattering the embers of distant comets as they advanced. Yet as they neared the Terran frontier, grandeur faltered. Suspended in the infinite dusk, the Terran quantum armada unfurled, spanning entire star systems. Terran vessels, fluid and ever-shifting, glimmered like living constellations, weaving radiant patterns across light years. Some dissolved into motes of possibility, reforming as crystalline fortresses. Others ballooned into golden fractal labyrinths, their exteriors inscribed with shifting runes pulsing with the assembly mind. Cosmic dust became painted auroras, streams of data and memory cascading between Terran ships, a net glimmering with echoes of distant galaxies. The Zephirian advance, thunderous and unstoppable, paused at the threshold of this radiant nebula, dwarfed by the multidimensional artistry before them. With a gesture as subtle as thought, a single pulse radiated from a Terran planetary node, an opalescent heart suspended above a shimmering world. Instantly, Zephirian engines halted mid-burn, battleships drifting silently as the Terran quantum mesh enfolded them. In the stillness, the Terrans released a frequency, ancient, primordial, the very note born of the Big Bang itself. First unearthed during their galactic reformation, it was not a weapon of destruction, but a cosmic node of consciousness, a resonance of creation that harmonized the vibrations of all things and no things. As this transcendent tone swept across the battlefield, it struck not at shields or hulls, but at the very chord of Zephirian being, reverberating through mind and spirit. Reality itself seemed to recalibrate as waves of pure potential sang through matter and thought, dissolving discord and knitting the universe anew in radiant unity. The Zephirians, awash in this overwhelming harmony, found themselves undone not by force, but by a wisdom that revealed the vastness of the unknown. The cosmic note lingered in their consciousness, unraveling pride and planting seeds of awe. Humbled, they withdrew, not defeated in the conventional sense, but transformed, carrying with them more questions than answers and a profound reverence for the galactic divinity that had chosen to illuminate rather than dominate.